Now, if you need help with negotiating, find someone doing lots of deals in your area or that understands this process and give them a piece of the deal to help you. They may want a majority of the deal, but the key is to have the experience and the resources to take it down, and you don't, they do. So chalk it up as a learning experience, chalk it up as an education, and just get the deal done. Hey everybody, it's Zach Ullman and welcome back. Today I want to talk about finding deals. Now before we jump into that, we need to set the tone because there's a lot of people out there that are finding properties. Now not all properties are deals. Now we can turn a bad deal into a good deal by structuring it differently, but the key in the training today is I want you to understand that there are tons of different ways to find deals. There's tons of different ways to do deals. And the more tools you have inside of your tool belt, the more deals you're going to be able to do. And that's why I have been able to accomplish so much in my real estate investing career, because I just don't look at one strategy. I look for people with problems around real estate, and then I use these different tools to solve those problems so that I can actually get that deal done. So we're gonna jump in and I'm gonna share a little bit about how we do that inside of our masterminds, inside of our community. So let's go. So first off, I see people running around every day looking for a deal. They say, all I need is that next deal. All I need is that next deal. And they're so focused on it, yet they don't even understand what a good deal is. They could have a deal right in front of them and they wouldn't know how to structure it. They wouldn't know, what paperwork to fill out. They wouldn't understand that. And that is completely okay, because as a new investor, you're not gonna know everything. I am consistently learning every day, and I'm consistently elevating my experience, my crowd, my resources every day. So it's okay if you don't know what a good deal is or even to how to structure a deal. The key is hanging around people that do. So I want to make sure that every second you spend and every cent you spend is intentional when it comes to this learning process, so you don't waste any time. I'm also going to show you the fastest way to get a deal, and I can almost guarantee that you've all thought about it, but none of you have done it. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can actually have somebody find the deal for you. They are known as wholesalers or real estate agents. They're actually out there finding that deal, and then you can buy it from them. And then the second way is actually to be direct with the seller. Now this is the preferred approach because you can get terms, you can negotiate, you can get a lot more benefit being direct with the seller. And so that's the way we're gonna focus on today. First off, you need to determine what types of deal you're looking for. And I know I said earlier, we're looking for people with problems around real estate, but specifically, I love getting seller financing deals. So that's an example of different types. Now, I come across other deals that I can monetize in that process of looking for what I want, but the key is to get really focused on your strategy, really focus on your lead gen, really focus on your type of leads, and then really focus on your farm area, as we call it. So we're gonna go actually through that right now. So for most people starting off, you're gonna use one simple strategy. It may be you're looking for rentals, maybe you're looking for fix and flips, maybe you're looking to wholesale, right? So most people are gonna start with one strategy. So to get started, I need you to choose a strategy that you want. So if you're gonna start off as wholesaling, right, have that be the business model. If you're gonna start off as fix and flip, start with that in mind. If you're gonna start with rentals, start with that in mind. Now, each one of these are gonna have a little bit unique characteristics. For example, with rental properties, you're gonna want long-term, low-interest financing in place. Now, we do a lot of that through seller financing, so you'll have to go make sure that the leads match your strategy. And that's another thing I really want to talk about today, is making sure that the money matches the strategy and making sure that the leads match the strategy so you can actually set yourself up for success. Once you've determined the type of deals you want to do, either wholesale, fix and flip, or rentals, you need to determine the acquisition strategy. Now, there's a bunch of different acquisition strategies. Some include contract for deeds, subject to, lease options, foreclosures, auctions, tax liens, and deeds. There's actually a whole list of different strategies, acquisition methods, disposition methods, and funding on this list right now that's showing. After you understand the acquisition strategy, then you need to determine the type of funding. Again, here's a list of some of the different ways to fund a deal. I'm actually going to create a whole different training that goes over these in depth so you can understand what to use when. Because this list that I'm showing, these are all pieces to the puzzle called a deal. And the key is learning how to put these puzzle pieces together to maximize the highest and best use of that property, offer the seller the most value, and value doesn't always equate to price. So I want to be very specific on that. Provide the most value to the seller, and then provide the most value to you. And by changing these different puzzle pieces, you can really maximize the entire deal so that everybody involved in that deal can win. Now, once you've determined the type of financing, the next part is determining your lead source. Now, I highly suggest having your lead source match your strategy that you just picked. And I talked a little bit about this earlier. So for example, if you're looking to buy rental properties, using subject to acquisitions is a great way to do it because it has long-term, low interest financing in place that matches the exit strategy. Now, I highly suggest having your lead source match your strategy you picked. For example, if you're looking to buy rental properties using subject to acquisition, I suggest you start looking for pre-foreclosure leads, as almost everything else will be much harder to close subject to. The idea is we want to look for people with problems around real estate, and then we want to be the solution to that problem. So many people that are in pre-foreclosure, tax delinquencies, different worlds like that, there's a timeline. And they have to accomplish something by that timeline or they lose their house. So that is a great lead to be working with because they're motivated. Most of them are motivated. And they have to find a solution or else they end up losing the entire property, right? Or potentially losing the entire property. So when we're looking for lead sources, we want to make sure that that lead matches the acquisition and disposition strategy. To go on that a little bit more, you wouldn't go after retail properties if you wanted seller financing. They may work, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be a lot harder to actually accomplish that. So here's some of the people who have problems that we can solve. People going through foreclosure, divorce, probate, bankruptcy. CPAs can be used as referral types. Attorneys can be used as referral types. City violations, water shutoffs, vacant property lists, landlord lists. Right now with the rental moratorium and the whole challenge around having rental properties, there's a lot of people that are losing, they're getting frustrated, they're running out of finances. We can look at tax liens, tax sales. Really, any type of delinquency lien on a property is a good place to start because those people have problems around that real estate, and that problem is what we want to solve using some of our creative acquisition strategies. Now that you picked your strategy out and your lead source, you need to determine how you're going to contact that person. Are you going to use mailers, door knocking, roadside signs, referrals, cold callers, internet marketing, newspapers? Now that's just to name a few. Now, I suggest using as many as possible. As you can start to see, we have lots of options, and this is where most people fail. They get so overwhelmed because they don't have a plan. And that is why I wanted to share our plan with you. So let's jump in. So first off, we're going to define our farm area. Now this is the area that we're going to be marketing to, right? We want to keep it tight. We want to keep it next to our places where we're living. So the idea is if it isn't in this area, we don't even want you to look at it because it's going to take your focus off what you're doing. Now, as you're starting off, it is crucial to maintain focus. Now, we can look at deals all over the country once you get those first couple of deals done in your backyard. But for now, let's get laser focused and focus on your backyard. So first off, you're going to pick 5 zip codes around your current home. Now, this might need to be adjusted more or less depending on where you live. But the idea is you want to have enough leads to keep you busy, but not so many leads that you can't really penetrate the leads that you have, because we're going to go after multiple touches through multiple different ways. And the reason we want this in your backyard is when that person calls you or that person responds to your communication, you can instantly go over there, because it's my opinion, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to close a deal in person when you can create that relationship. So the goal is to own these zip codes. And when I say that, is what I mean is we don't want anything happening in these zip codes without you knowing, right? We have a little joke in our morning mastermind around this, is we want you to own it. Nobody sells, nobody buys, nobody does anything in those zip codes without you knowing. And that is because we want you to become an expert in the residential property game inside of these zip codes. Now, commercial and multifamily, we can go into that, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a heck of a lot easier to get your first deal done or your next deal via residential property right now. So that's really what I'm talking about. And what the conversation that I'm having is, you can do the same thing with any type of deal. The key is to get laser focused and get busy, right? Do more sooner. That's a motto in our office. Do more sooner. So the next step is you want to go to Redfin or Zillow, and you're going to pull up those 5 zip codes, and you're going to look at the solds for the last 30, 60, 90 days. Again, the point here is to get a sense of what is selling and how much in the time period, the days on market, the rehab. You want to get a sense of what's happening in those 5 zip codes. Now, you might need more zip codes, you might need less zip codes, you might need to push it out to 120 days, 6 months, 12 months, depending on your area. As you get more and more in the rural areas, what's going to happen is there aren't going to be as many solds. So you're going to have to broaden your scope, broaden your timeline. But the idea is we want you to become an expert. And the fastest way to become an expert is looking at what's sold in that market. Now, we want to save all of these properties so we can actually go and drive by them. The great thing about technology is we can do all of this from our phone. We now want to go drive all of these properties. And this can be accomplished over a weekend, a Saturday and Sunday. You can actually put some music on, put an audiobook in, and start driving. You can bring a friend. You know, if you're in the city, you can get a bike, you can get a scooter. You can make it fun. Right? And that's what I want you to imagine imagine it a treasure hunt, that you're going to look for this big treasure that, that can pay off anything and buy you anything, help you accomplish anything, because at the end of the day, that's really what we're doing. It just so happens that treasure is going to be that next lead that contacts you. So when you're actually talking to them, you're going to know what's going on in the market. You're going to know what you can offer them. You're going to know what the other properties are going for. So think of this when you're doing this, think of it as a treasure hunt and have fun doing it. Bring a friend, bring your spouse, bring your kids, and make it a family event. And then that way you guys can be learning together. So as you're driving, take special notice to the areas. Is it nice? Is there garbage? Is there abandoned homes? Are there overgrown grass, weeds, lots of traffic, noise? Is there a lot of noise? Is there a factory? Is there railroads? Just get a sense of the overall market conditions. Now, there's nothing wrong with all of this, but the key is when we get a property that's in that local area, right? We're gonna remember reference points. Oh yeah, there's a factory right over there. There's a railroad track. That's gonna affect price on the back end. As you pull up to the house, take mental note of the outside of the property and the neighbors' houses. Is it appealing? Is it nicely kept? Is it, are there overgrown bushes? Maybe that property you're looking at is the nicest house in the neighborhood. Maybe it's the ugliest house in the neighborhood. But what we want to do is we want to take a look at the online profile and the photos from your phone. So as you're sitting in front of it, scroll through your phone, look at what the inside of that house actually looks like. Take a mental note on the price and the condition of that property, and then again, the neighborhood and the neighbors, so that you have a point of reference when you're talking to people on the phone about their house. Now, I promise you that this will make things way easier going forward. You're gonna have so much confidence, right? That's a huge thing, confidence. Most people lack confidence when they're talking to sellers. This is a 2-day project. It shouldn't take you more than 2 days, and I'm telling you, it works, right? You're gonna have confidence, you're gonna have an understanding of the market, you're gonna know what's selling, where it's selling, you're gonna know challenges in different parts of those zip codes, because you can go 2, 3, 4 blocks over and it can be a totally different neighborhood. So I'm here to tell you this works, and this is what we do inside of our advanced masterminds. Now, if you can't spend 2 days on preparing for your business, I'm gonna break some news to you. This probably isn't for you, because this is just the start of this journey. Now, as you drive, also write down any addresses that look distressed. This could include boarded up windows, long grass, for sale by owner signs, rental signs, houses that look like they need repair, or anything else that you can think of. And then what we want to do is we're going to use these leads later when we actually start marketing. Once you do this, you're going to now have a better understanding of what is selling in your area and what the price points are for different levels of rehabs. This is extremely important because it will give you so much confidence, like I said earlier, in your decisions going forward with help. And this is really going to help with everything else. So now that we know your farm area, the next step is marketing. I'm going to go over some ways that we market, and I want you to do as many of these as possible that fit your schedule and fit your budget. The key is getting started now, and then you never ever want to quit this. Never stop marketing, okay? You don't have any deals to negotiate if you don't have someone to talk to, so becoming an expert at this is going to pay dividends in the long run. Now, first we want to find a list of people to contact. I'm going to suggest starting with people that have the most distress and then broaden your search from there. I love going after pre-foreclosures, foreclosure properties, auctions, however you say it, because there's a timeline there. They have to solve that problem before the auction, or else they have the potential of losing that. Now, the key is that you want to find enough leads to keep yourself busy, but not so many that you can't manage them all. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. There's softwares, there's a lot of expensive teams, but again, the key is find something that fits your timeline, your budget, your strategy, because there's a lot of people out there spending a lot of money on this stuff, and you may not have that budget. I'm a big proponent of learning through the process, and then once you understand that process, scale up. So after foreclosure properties, I like to add tax liens, probate, city violations, so there's enough to keep you busy no matter where you're at. Now, once you have your list, you're going to start marketing. Now, I highly suggest door knocking, as it's the most effective strategy we use from a cost time perspective if you're on a budget and if you have the time to do it. Now, as your budget and your experience increases, you're going to start having people lead generate for you. The idea is that you know how to do it, you can accomplish it yourself, and then you're going to train other people or hire other people to do it yourself, depending on where the destination is. If you want to do 5, 10, 20 deals a month, you're not going to be able to do that on your own. So you're going to have to bring people in to help you do that. Now, the key is when. I'm a big proponent of bootstrapping, which means have the business pay for itself. Take a little bit of money from each deal and put it over to marketing. If you want a book on this, read Profit First. It really talks about this dilemma most people run into, which is they reinvest every cent they make back into the business, and then they don't have anything to live on. They don't have anything to provide the lifestyle that they work so hard for. So read that book, Profit First. But the key is you want to take a fraction of what you made and pour it back in to marketing. Take the other and maybe go buy a rental property. Maybe buy something that's cash flowing and produces a return. Now, when you're door knocking, you're going to use a script that works for you. I'm a big fan of scripts for new people to have a guideline when talking to people. The challenge is once you have an understanding of that, you don't need it anymore, because no conversation will ever go exactly like that script is. And the key is you want to be great at listening and asking questions, because all you're really doing is strictly having a conversation, building trust, and so that you can make a difference in their life and solve that problem. Now, we have a couple different openings that we use, and the rest is guided by the response to this opening. So I want to share a couple of these openings that we use. The first opening is for a pre-foreclosure auction properties, tax liens, really any publicly posted distress. And the reason I say publicly posted is because when we're knocking and we're having this opening conversation is I say, hey, I found this on X. Okay, so this is what it sounds like. Hi, my name is Zach, and I help people who are going through distress, going through foreclosure. I saw that this house was listed on the county website, right? Fill in the blank there, and is going to go to auction on November 4th. Again, fill in the blank. And I wanted to see how I could help. Have you found a solution for this yet? Question mark. Would you like to hear all of your options? Question mark. And then based on that it really depends on where the conversation goes. A lot of people, they'll strike up a conversation. Other people are going to slam the door in front of you. People are at where they're at, and their response is not a product of you. Their response is not anything directed at you. They may just had a bad day, right? Their house is going, potentially could be lost, and they're trying to deal with it, and they got people contacting them on the phone, on the text, on the mailers. There's other people knocking the door. The idea is you want to treat them with humanity, with compassion, with sincerity, right? Because I can tell you from my experience, a lot of people don't do that. There are a lot of these other people out there talking to them are only worried about making the money and going on to that next deal, not actually solving a problem and treating these people with the dignity and respect that they deserve. So if you can do that, you're going to be in front of a lot of other people. And right, that's how we've grown our business, and we've been very successful at it. Now, the second one is, hi, my name is Zach, and I'm looking to buy a home in the area, and I was wondering if you knew anyone that would be interested in selling, or if you would be interested in selling yourself. I actually use this one for properties that may not have an obvious distress, such as long grass, deferred maintenance, different things like that, because I use this because I don't want to offend people. Hey, imagine going to their house saying, hey, I see that your house looks like crap. Do you want to sell it? that doesn't really work. So what you do is you get the conversation started. It says, hey, I'm new to the area, I'm looking to buy a home. Do you know anyone? Right? And if they have some type of distress or there's any little bit of interest, the next question is, are you interested in selling? So it's sort of a backdoor into that conversation without being offensive. Now, once you hear someone that is interested in hearing an offer or talking more, what you want to do is get your seller information sheet completed. Now, I'm going to make a whole different video on actually what this involves. There's many different seller information sheets out there. The key is getting the pieces to this puzzle. You're going to hear that a lot, pieces to this puzzle, so that you can actually solve it. Now, you may not be able to solve this problem, right? Because you're new to this, but the idea is you want to be around people that are. From here on out, it's all about negotiating and understanding deal structure and possibilities. Now, the goal is you want to have as many of these conversations as possible. And the reason we have you market in your local area is so that you can drive over to the properties and see it for yourself. I've seen so many people that, they start off in Detroit and Florida and Texas, all these hot markets, but then they don't have any sense of the market. They don't have a team down there. They have to pay for people to go and look at these properties, and they don't get that sense of firsthand learning, okay? Now, is it possible? Absolutely. People do it every day, but this is the model that we have found to be very successful because the market around your house should, right? It's in your backyard. You should literally be able to drive these properties. You can see it on a daily basis. You're going to know, if a house goes up for sale by owner, you're going to know because this is your farm area and you know it firsthand. So that is a big reason why we say pick some zip codes in your backyard. Now you can use mailers, bandit signs, cold callers, referrals, social media, guerrilla marketing. The key is keep scaling in more and more lead sources as time and budget allows, and never quit talking to people with problems around real estate. If you become an expert at this, in my opinion, this is one of the most profitable pieces to the deal, because once you find it, you need to learn how to negotiate. If you can do those things, the money is easy because it's a great deal. Now that's my opinion, because it's a lot easier to fund a great deal than it is to fund a mediocre or bad deal. And then you can wholesale it. It opens up all of these exit strategies that other people could use, but they don't know how to find the deals like you do. So if you can really spend this time and become an expert at finding people with problems around real estate, using real estate strategies to solve those problems, and then you can actually take it down, or you can find somebody else that can take it down. Now, if your schedule doesn't allow you to door knock, I highly suggest using social media, as you can do it for absolutely free any time of the day. You should also be incorporating social media posting, marketing if you are door knocking, because social media is a passive strategy. And what I mean by that is you can do it any time of the day. You can set it out there and forget it until you come back later that day, later the next day, and respond. Now, I have an entire free training on how to get leads using Facebook, so you can actually use this strategy for any social media platform, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. The idea is to get started. Do more sooner, right? It is actually responsible for hundreds of deals that have been done out there. So let us know when we get you that free training on how we're generating leads via free Facebook posts. Now, you may not agree with what I'm about to say next, but I'm looking at it from a business/financial standpoint. So take that in mind. Don't spend money on ads, cold callers, expensive mailers, etc. until you've actually closed some deals, unless you have the money to spend, because I'm here to say it's a learning curve and it can get really, really expensive if you aren't experienced enough to close those deals. Okay, the reason it works for the experienced people is because they know how much to spend and they can actually close those deals. If you don't know how to close those deals or finance those deals or get that deal done, you're not going to make that money, and they're going to be ahead of you. Okay, so I see this happen all the time. People take a lot of money and then they go out there and they build this machine that they don't even know how to use, and they don't even know how to close the deals that are coming from it. What ends up happening is they just end up spending a lot of money, and eventually they get frustrated and quit because they either run out of time, they run out of money, they run out of resources, and they're just frustrated. So take a little bit of time and really set yourself up to win. Now, I highly suggest starting with the free stuff because it allows you to gain experience and make money, and take that money and put a portion of it back into marketing. Now, the key is not all of it. Like I said earlier, read the book Profit First to get a better understanding of why you don't want to put all of it back in there. And actually, it will make you'll be ahead of the game, because most people won't do this. Most people plow all that money back in. And does it work? Yeah, but the key is you want to make money to put into rental properties, into cash flowing properties to live on. And so you really need to have a budget, and Profit First is a great way. Audiobook out there that actually teaches you how to do that. Now, if you need help with negotiating, find someone doing lots of deals in your area or that understands this process and give them a piece of the deal to help you. They may want a majority of the deal, but the key is to have the experience and the resources to take it down, and you don't. They do. So chalk it up as a learning experience. Chalk it up as an education, and just get the deal done. Now, again, I see many times over and over again, people not wanting to give away a piece of the deal to learn or make more money. Now, we had a person in our advanced mastermind. She actually brought a portfolio of properties. She had zero contract in place. She had zero paperwork in place. She brought it to us and they said, hey, I actually have a buyer. I'll bring the money. I'll help you get it closed. I'll do all of this and I'll split it with you 50-50. Which is way more generous than most people out there. And here's what she said: no. Okay, she probably could have walked away with $60,000, but instead she wanted all the profits herself, and she tried doing it on her own. And here's what happened: she didn't get the deal done. So she potentially could have made 60 grand if she would have worked with me and given that up, the other half of it up, but she didn't. And what happened is she got $0. All right, and she didn't get any learning experience. Well, she did get a learning experience, probably not the type that she wanted. After a couple of these deals, you're gonna be able to take a little bit more, do a little bit more, and as you learn more of the process, you're gonna keep more of the money. So don't worry, right? The key is to get off the ground. Now, if you need help on any of these deals or anything else, we have almost 20 live meetings and masterminds a week where we support each other, where we're doing deals together. So check out some of our live free trainings and ask how you can work with us directly. We have people that have been doing this for 35 plus years that have done over 1,000 deals a year, all the way down to people that have never invested in real estate and everyone in between. We have people doing almost every type of deal out there. So we've created our own ecosystem, and we're looking to add people to that. We're looking to add resources to that. So if you want to be part of that, reach out to us and let's get you on a strategy session. With that being said, have a beautiful day. Hope to see you at the next meeting, gang.